All right. Well, I'm very, very excited to be here. I am here to present with my sisters, Deborah and Kippy. Um, so I hope you are all doing well today. Hi. Okay, and I'm starting to see you guys say hi in the chat. Okay, good. Everything is set up. Caregiver cooperators always have to take a sec with that technology, but it is really, really, really good to see you all today. And just to be back with this wonderful family of people. And so today we're going to be hearing from myself. I'm Nora, for those of you who haven't met me. I'm the administrator at Capital Home Care in Washington. We're also going to be hearing from Deborah Craig, as well as Kippy Waters. And so we're here to talk about elevating home care together. So I am going to very happily turn this over to Deborah.
Hello, everyone. So I am Deborah Craig, and I am with the Northwest Cooperative Development Center, located in Olympia, Washington. And we're a nonprofit that assists developing co-ops and existing co-ops throughout Washington, Oregon, and Idaho. NWCDC is committed to the development of home care co-ops in our region. Our commitment's demonstrated in the fact that 8 or 9 years ago, I was working at Circle of Life Home Care Co-op and was recruited to work for NWCDC with the idea of helping to develop more home care co-ops. Our commitment is also, it also shows up in our yearly support that we give to our home care co-op. So NWCDC provides yearly board governance training. We provide also through my colleague, Luis Sierra, training in co-op finances. We also assist co-ops with their yearly strategic planning session. And we provide support for their annual meeting and their board election. Next screen. So this year we are adding a few new trainings. One in evaluating the administrator. So we really plan to explore what it means for the board to be an employer, to be a good employer of their administrator or manager. So we want to move past just giving feedback and move towards really thinking about the long-term development of their manager, finding out what skills that manager needs and what kind of support they need from the board. We also have another new training we're going to start this year, and that's preparing for the budget cycle. And again, my colleague Luis Sierra will be leading groups through this process, where the board, they participate in their strategic planning, and then how do those ideas end up in their budget cycle? So we hope that this will raise their budgeting skills and then put the financial oversight into the hands of the board. Next slide. So also this year, we planned a few in-person get-togethers. As we all know, caregivers do a lot of their work in isolation. And, they're apart from their coworkers. And then the last couple of years with the quarantines and the isolation, we just really, really need to be together in person. So we're planning for that. We just really need to be able to laugh together and to share ideas and support each other. And in general, just hype each other up for this amazing work that we're all doing. Maybe we need to look back and remember what we survived, and then also to look together to what we will accomplish in the future. So one of the ways we will do this is through our administrators retreat. This will be the second one that we've had. So there are 5 administrators. We'll meet. Last year, I think we met for a day and a half. But this is a chance for them to get out of the office, away from the day-to-day, and to think about their jobs in a different way. I think it's also really important that they're able to support each other and hear about the struggles and successes from each other. One of the things in Washington that's a requirement for our administrators is that each year they have 10 credits of continuing education in the topic of managing home care co-ops or home care agencies. So we, in this administrators retreat, we will be providing some training, and they will also be training themselves, training each other. And then they'll get their 10 credits. Another hope for this summer is a home care co-op board get together. So last year in Circle of Life strategic planning session, that board decided that it's crucial for the boards to all get together. And I think it will be a lot of fun. So we are hoping this summer that the 5 home care boards will congregate in the Bellingham area. NWCDC will provide some training, but mostly this is going to be a social get together. Just get a chance to know each other and build relationships. And then also we continue to look at the idea of a secondary co-op for the 5 Washington home care co-ops. We see this as a way for us to participate in collaborative marketing together, to do some shared trainings together, and maybe even to look into benefits such as healthcare or a retirement. Next slide. And one of the really exciting things we're doing this year is a home care co-op academy. So we'll be doing this for the state of Nebraska. Last year, I entered into a series of conversations with Charlotte and Cindy of the University of Nebraska's Cooperative Development Center. And over the past couple of years in the state of Nebraska, they've experienced the closing of several skilled nursing facilities and assisted living facilities. And this is, of course, a very rural state. So one of these closing means a huge amount of travel for any of the people around that facility. So people are really struggling to look for the care that they need. And through our conversations, we thought about a home care co-op academy. And so this will hopefully will guide a group of caregivers through the steps of starting their own home care co-op. We'll be covering governance, finance, operations, marketing, outreach, and a lot more. This is a pilot project. This first one, we will record it, and eventually we'll get it into some kind of shape and make it available for other groups. One of the best things about this project for me is the opportunity to invite caregivers and administrators in to participate. So our Washington home care co-op caregivers will be featured in our academy, and we'll be able to learn from them as well. That's it. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Deborah, for sharing. I can just second that what Deborah and all of the home care co-ops have been working on in the NWCDC is so cool, and I'm really excited to learn more about this academy. And so what I'm going to be here to do is just to update you on our little Washington State home care family and let you know what we've all been doing for the past year since we got to do our first virtual conference a year ago. So first, I just wanted to shout out Ridgeline Home Care Co-op. They are up in Port Angeles, Washington. They were the 4th home care cooperative to open. They opened up in 2020 and have been just riding through COVID. In spite of many challenges, they are just really taking over the market up there. They easily pay more than any other agency up there. They've managed to onboard a wonderful manager, Alicia Campion, who I'm excited to welcome to this family. She's just really taken the helm there and been driving it hard, and it's really just doing an amazing job. They voted this year to give an all staff raise of $2, and we're able to walk away with profits, which we all know in under a few years of startup is really, really amazing. And this year, 2022, they're planning to start exploring benefits to support their workers. So they are just, you know, making a list of goals and checking it off every year. And we're really, really proud of them. And these are some wonderful images of the logo that they created and some of the people that have been part of bringing Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative together. Next, I want to shout out Peninsula Home Care Cooperative. We all know the wonderful Kippy Waters. She has been running Peninsula Home Care now for 7 years. They were the second home care cooperative to open up in Washington. And they're very proud because in 2021, they gave 87% of their revenue back to their caregivers and members in payroll, bonuses, and dividends, which is just incredible. That's what we're here to do. And in 2022, they hope to increase their billable hours and remain COVID-free. And I know from working directly with Kippi how wonderful her COVID policies have been. And I know they're doing a great job protecting their population up there. And this is their logo and some pictures showing just a little bit of the heart and soul of PHC. Next, of course, we have to shout out Circle of Life Home Care Cooperative up in Bellingham, Washington. I always think of them as the mama co-op in Washington. They were they were the first ones. They have set a lot of the standards for the documentation and the practices that we all use here. And they were awarded the prestigious CCHD grant last year, which allowed them to build more office support and kind of build for growth in the future. So I have deep love for Bellingham, for Chris up in Circle of Life, and just a lot of love for what they've done for us and everyone in this community. Also love their logo colors. They're really, really cute. And then, of course, I have to shout out Capital Home Care. That's the co-op that I hail from in Olympia, Washington. We were number 3 in Washington, and we actually just celebrated our 4th birthday last week on March 2nd. So we are 4 years into operations as of now. In 2021, we gave a 38% raise to all of our staff. We provided over $40,000 in bonuses and COVID-19 quarantine reimbursement to caregivers, and we were able to walk away with a profit all through COVID. So we're incredibly proud of that. We look forward to launching our public pay reimburse project this year in 2022, hoping to make this care that we offer accessible to a lot more people. I asked all of the different co-ops to identify as a fruit, and I've identified CHC as a blackberry because we're delicious and really difficult to get rid of. And I'm just really proud of everything we've done in the last 4 years. And finally, last but not least, we are very, very excited to welcome a 5th home care co-op to Washington, Heartsong Home Care Cooperative. They serve Skagit and Island counties in Washington, meaning we are now spanning Western Washington in a serious way. They opened just in September 2021. They got hit with that fabulous Omicron surge, and they just plowed through it. I mean, 6 months in, and they are doing an amazing job. Kathy Rivas has pulled together a group of dedicated and hardworking caregivers. And together, these owners have already pushed through their first surge, and they're seeing their billable hours grow every week. And we are just so, so proud of them. And because they're a little young, you know, we didn't have a ton to say yet, but they gave me an analogy for what kind of a fruit they were. And they said they were a fruit basket, and I thought it was so sweet that I would share it with you guys. So Kathy let me know that she believes they're a fruit basket because grapes symbolize wealth and pleasure, oranges symbolize good fortune, pomegranates symbolize life and death, apples for knowledge, bananas for wisdom, and an abundance of fruit in a basket symbolizes prosperity, which they feel they have at Heartsong Home Care. And I just thought, I bet we all relate to that a little bit. So I couldn't not share it. And so this is just a map showing, you know, where we are. We're just seeing home care co-ops pop up all over. And we are so excited to see that trend continue and to see all of these co-ops continue to support each other in that growth. So we're just very, very excited to tell you guys about this. And I'm just going to leave it with a really fun little fact. Our 5 home care co-ops currently employ over 96 caregivers, and we pay an average $2 per hour more than our local competitors. You know, and a lot of us just opened in the last, you know, we all opened in the last 7 years except for Circle of Life. So I just think that's one of those numbers that like brings home the hope and the power of what just even a small seed can start to do. And so we're seeing that here in Washington, and we're really, really proud. All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to Kippy Waters, who is going to bring it home for me.
Thank you, Nora. I'm Kippy Waters, Director of Peninsula Home Care Cooperative. And just as the 7 principles of worker cooperatives are apparent in individual home care agencies or home care cooperatives, they should also be reflected in the ecosystem of a collective of cooperatives. So today I'm going to highlight concern for the community, education, training, and information, and cooperation among cooperatives. So first I wanted to talk about concern for the community. And I think it was in 2020 that we realized how much we needed each other. There was 4 of us at that time when COVID hit. And as all of you know, there was no handbook on running a home care agency during COVID. And we did not get a lot of guidance from the CDC or the Washington Department of Health. Sometimes we were considered a healthcare setting, sometimes we weren't. So I think it was during COVID that we really came together as an ecosystem of emotional support. I don't think I could have done this without my sister co-ops. I remember getting together on Zoom and we cried together. We searched the world for PPE equipment, and we really did, we helped define our COVID protocol together. And now we have monthly meetings where we continue to care for each other. You know, home care co-ops are there for the caregivers. We're taking care of caregivers who take care of our clients, but who takes care of us. So it's really, really good to have this ecosystem, this sisterhood. Again, we laugh together, we cry together, we celebrate our success, we answer our questions. We're just a great, great support group for each other. Second principle, little bit different than what's on the slide. We'll talk about cooperation among cooperatives. We all have our own service areas. They don't overlap, but there has been a couple of times where we crossed our county boundaries and helped support each other with 24/7 clients. During COVID, Circle of Life got a 24/7 client that they couldn't staff alone. So a caregiver drove up from Olympia and stayed with one of the Circle of Life board of directors. They got to know each other. They got to be familiar with you know, another co-op culture. Same thing happened with Heartsong. Client needed 24/7 over a weekend, and someone came down from Circle of Life and helped with their shifts. Also, home care, the home care industry is heavily regulated in Washington. We have a lot of rules and regulations and policies that we have to follow, and we're audited every couple of years. And the state used to inform us when there were changes to the policy, but for some reason they're not informing us anymore. But we've got a trick, because when one Washington home care co-op gets audited, we find out what the new policies are that we have to follow. So we're just a little bit ahead of the curve. More cooperation. We've been on and off, but we are working on continuing education programs that all of the home care co-ops can participate in. Caregivers need 12 continuing education credits annually. So, you know, we're hoping to continue to to build that program out as a shared resource. This June, we're hoping to have a coordinated open house in all of our 5 locations, and we'll be coordinating marketing activities around that. Education, training, and information. Deborah talked about the admin retreat. We got together last year here in Port Townsend, and there was a lot of information and education and sharing knowledge. We have a Google Doc location where all of our forms are shared. As someone, for instance, last couple weeks ago, I was doing client evaluations and feeling like my client evaluation questions just were not getting kind of the response that I needed. So I reached out to this wonderful ecosystem of administrators, you know, and the client evaluation forms were uploaded on Google, so I could see what the other caregivers, what the other co-ops are doing. So there are so many forms and so many procedures in home care, and it's wonderful to be able to share among ourselves so that we can guarantee the best practices. We feed on each other. We enlighten each other to the best practices of running a home care agency. I just really wanted to, I just find it amazing that we have Northwest Cooperative Development Center, and particularly Deborah Craig in our corner. I mean, she's this amazing resource. She's available all the time. I can always call her. I can always reach out to her. And so infinite gratitude to Deborah and my other sister co-ops. Thank you.
All right, I think that is our presentation for today. And before I turn it over to whatever's coming next, I just want to echo what Kippy just said. You know, it really is such a huge immense help. And I like to have Deborah and the NWCDC in our corner, and it really, you know, they facilitate and pave the way for this ecosystem to grow, and, you know, give us like resources and materials constantly, you know, so that we can build to grow. And it's really amazing. And so just thank you, Deborah, so much for all that you do in the NWCDC. I know we have about 5 minutes left, so I guess we could open that to questions, unless the CDF or ICA facilitators had a plan, in which case take the reins, please.
Nora, I think we can go ahead and answer some questions, and there actually is one in the chat. Actually, there's a few in the chat right now. The first question is, are the co-ops networked with the regional health information exchanges?
I do not believe so, unless Kippy or Deborah knows something I don't.
I don't believe so either.
I'm like Googling it right now. I'm like, that sounds interesting.
I know, I don't even know what it is.
Great. And how did you raise initial funding? And did you have a joint fundraising effort?
You mean to start our individual co-ops?
Yes, I think so. I think that is what is being asked. So how did you raise initial funding, and did you have a joint fundraising effort?
Well, you know, we all started at different times, so there was not a need for a joint fundraising effort. I know Peninsula Homecare Cooperative took advantage of our local investment opportunity network, which is a group of investors that only invests in Jefferson County. So we were able to get startup loans from them.
Yeah, I can echo Kippy. I think it's a little different for each co-op, kind of, again, singing the songs of the NWCDC. I know that Deborah and the NWCDC really helped us source our funding for Capital Home Care because they were very much part of that initial startup process. And it seems like from every co-op that I've heard of, it seems like everybody gets a little creative with how they're sourcing that funding. I know at CHC we did do crowdsourcing as well, but that wouldn't have been enough to for startup funds. Great question. All right, and I'm getting into the chat to see if there's any other. Is there an ecosystem only for Washington? So I think our home care, and Kippy, like I'll watch for you if you have look excited to answer a question. Ours is currently focused on Washington, and I think a huge part of that is that Washington has such specific regulations, and so state to state, the requirements for a home care agency can be dramatically different. And so that was a huge part of our ecosystem getting together. Like even the COVID policies for Washington are a little particular compared to the rest of the country. But I do know that Katrina Costa and the ICA group are talking about a different sort of secondary co-op that I think would reach nationally and probably serve as a different aspect of this growing ecosystem. You know, and I would just say, I think there's always room for growth. We should all be sharing with each other as much as possible.
You know, that map that that Nora showed on the slide with the location of 5 co-ops, that is just in the way western, northwestern part of Washington. So we are blessed by having a really close proximity to each other. And it just has created its, you know, our own, it's a natural ecosystem. And of course, I'm sure Deborah will be developing many other co-ops, maybe in Eastern Washington. And, you know, but right now we can easily drive to each other in what, an hour and 15 minutes. So it's just a very close system. Not closed, but close.
Awesome. Oh, we have so many questions, you guys. This is so fun. Okay, I gotta find where we left off. Are there any plans on joining force with SEIU 775? That is actually something that I have been personally looking into. We don't have any immediate plans, but I know that's also a potential function of the secondary co-op that Deborah was talking about, was potentially, you know, allowing us all to unionize under one umbrella. So I know it's something we're talking about. I don't know if Deborah or Kippy want to weigh in.
No, I think you covered it.
Good. Okay. All right, I'll just read a question next and let somebody else answer. Hi, everyone. I just started a home cleaning business in Portland, Oregon that I'm hoping to turn into a worker cooperative. I'm taking a lot of inspiration from home care cooperatives, and I'd absolutely love to connect with some Washington folks to talk more. Oh, awesome. I will copy your email and reach out to you. That's very, very cool. And that was from Quinn Diane. I didn't see a question there, so, but that's very awesome. And I might just keep going. Ooh, okay. It's kind of become a conversation in the chat. I don't know if I should read the whole conversation out loud, but it seems like ICA and Katrina did respond and say Dave will be talking about that national secondary cooperative next. So that's wonderful. And it looks to me like that might be the end of the questions in there, unless anybody they want to add.
That is it. Thank you so much, Nora and Kippy and Deborah, for presenting today. And really just a huge shout out to Deborah and the Northwest Cooperative Development Center for building such a thriving co-op ecosystem in Washington State that we really hope we're able to replicate, through this secondary co-op